Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on ArgoCD. So in the previous video, we have seen how to deploy application on Kubernetes cluster using ArgoCD tool. So in this video, we'll see how to deploy the application on multiple Kubernetes clusters using ArgoCD tool. So before we begin, we must have multiple Kubernetes clusters and kubectl command line tool to access the Kubernetes clusters. So this is an action diagram where we have a master cluster on which we have installed ArgoCD server and some 2 or 3 remote servers or remote clusters on which we are going to deploy the applications. So the first step is to manage the kubeconfig file. So we'll manage using this command, the export kubeconfig and the location of config files. Next, we'll switch to the Kubernetes cluster contest so that we can add cluster to the ArgoCD server. So next, we'll be adding remote clusters to the master cluster. So we will use ArgoCD command line tool to add the cluster using these commands. Then deploy the application using ArgoCD's command line tool. So let us see in action how to deploy the application on remote servers. So I'm on to the master Kubernetes cluster. So first we will export the environment variable kubeconfig. The location of kubeconfig files. Okay, so this is the command export kubeconfig is equal to .kube / rk2 cluster1 and the kubeconfig file of the second cluster. Okay, so we'll see which are the contests present using the following command kubectl config get contests. So these are the contests present. These are the different Kubernetes clusters which are present. So we'll switch to rk2 cluster1, which is the master Kubernetes cluster, using the following command. Use contest and the contest name. Okay, so we have switched to the contest rk2 cluster1, which is the master Kubernetes cluster. Then we will add the remote cluster to the master cluster by ArgoCD CLI2 command. So before that, we will see which are the cluster present. ArgoCD cluster list. So you can see we have only one cluster, which is the master cluster. In cluster is nothing but on which we have installed the ArgoCD server. Okay, so we'll just add the remote cluster here. That is ArgoCD cluster add and the contest name. So the contest name is rk2 cluster 2. Okay, just enter and we'll ask for confirmation. So say yes. It is added. So the remote cluster is running on this IP 192.68.0.235. Okay, now if you see, if I run the command ArgoCD cluster list, you can see we have 2 cluster added. Okay, so rk2 cluster 2, the status will be unknown because we are not deploying any application onto this cluster. Okay, so next what we'll do, we will just deploy the application onto this cluster using ArgoCD CLI command. Okay, so this is the command ArgoCD app create guestbook. So this is the sample application which is available on the GitHub repository. So we need to, the only thing we have to change it here, the destination server. So we are deploying the application on remote Kubernetes cluster. So we have to provide the IP on which it is running, the IP address of the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so this is the IP address, and the namespace I have changed it to dev. Enter. So you can see the application is created. So go to the ArgoCD UI. So you can see it is created on this destination. You can see the IP address of the remote Kubernetes cluster 192.68.0.235. The namespace is dev. Just click on sync, on synchronize. So you can see the application is deployed on remote server. If you want to access this application, you can just edit the service, because here it is cluster IP, so that we cannot access the application from outside the Kubernetes cluster. So if you want to edit, change it to node port, so you can go to edit and change it to node port. And also I will add node port number here, node port. I'll just add to 32001. Okay, 32001. So on this node port number, the application will be available. We'll just save it. Okay, so I think space, we have to use space here after colon and save it. Yeah, so now we have edited the service file. So I will go to the IP address, to this, the remote Kubernetes cluster IP address, and the node port number, that is this IP. Okay, so if I want to change the node port number here, you can do that. So I want to access the application on different node port number. So I will just edit this here, edit, and change it to 07. Save it. Okay. If you go and access the application, just I will refresh. So it is changed. Now I can see the application is not accessible. So I will just change the node port to 7 and enter. You can see the application is accessible on this node port number. So that's it. That is how we can deploy the application onto the remote server, onto the remote Kubernetes clusters. And if you want to delete the cluster, then we can do that as well. So just we can delete this application by running the ArgoCD command, map delete the application name. Application name is this. Say yes, it is deleted. And to delete the cluster which is added, you can just remove by running this command, ArgoCD cluster rm, that is to remove, and the context name. Say yes, it is deleted. And I can see ArgoCD cluster list. So we have only one now, only one cluster, that is the local cluster, or the master cluster. So that's it. Thanks everyone. So in this, we have seen how we can deploy the application to remote server using ArgoCD command line tool. So in the upcoming videos, we'll see how to do that using Kubernetes manifest files. Thank you, everyone.